Hey, what's up winners? I got a request to do a credit card video targeted towards new military service members. So if you're new to the military and you're new to this whole adulting stuff, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the best credit cards for new military members. If you're new to this channel, here I typically talk about personal finance and investing. I was a boot once, and the military was basically my college experience. Being surrounded by Uncle Sam's ungrateful children, all we knew how to do was to spend money on beer and random things, but we didn't know how to manage money. For most of you guys, this might be the first time you're starting to make money on your own. There's not much financial guidance in the military, so by the end of this video, you're gonna know the exact steps to take to get started with credit cards. Credit cards can be your battle buddy or your worst enemy. Credit cards can be a powerful financial tool for motivators who have the financial discipline to pay off their balances every month. On the other hand, if you lack financial discipline, this can cause you to be drowning in credit card debt and paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of interest over time. Your credit score is one of the essentials in adulting. Having a good credit score, this will help you lease an apartment or buy a home or a car without paying a crap ton of money extra in interest. Since the majority of new military members are coming straight out of high school, they may not have a clue of what credit is. So I'll give you a brief overview of what the determining factors are that go into a credit score. So there are 5 main factors that go into a credit score. 35% of your score is due to payment history. So this reflects basically when you're making your payments on time every month. 30% of the score goes into the amounts owed. So this is the balance that you have on the credit cards. 50% is due to the length of credit history. So this is how long you have the credit cards open for, or the length of time that you've been making the payments. 10% of the score is due to new credit. This is when you open up new lines of credit, such as credit cards or loans. And the last one is 10% reflected on what types of credit. So this is the different types of credit that you have open, such as a house mortgage, a car loan, or a credit card. When you're first starting out, you most likely won't even have a credit score. If I was 18-year-old me, this is what I would do. I would first ask my parents to see if they can add me onto their credit card. This will give you the quickest jump ahead when trying to build credit. Basically, you adopt their credit score. But if you don't have a family member that's good with credit, then you have to do it the old-fashioned way and build your credit from scratch. By the time I just finished boot camp, I had a large ego and I didn't want help from no one. So I went about it myself. But I wish I knew the things that I know now. I don't know about all the other military branches, but when I was in the Marine Corps during boot camp, they would set us up with a bank where our paychecks would be deposited. Majority of the time, these banks will be local banks that are close to the military base, and they're usually not that great. The 2 major banks that target the US military is Navy Federal or USAA. I would recommend right after boot camp to switch your bank to one of these banks. Due to the fact that they have good customer service and you get ATM rebates, and they're usually accessible near most military bases. Before we start with all the credit cards that we'll be mentioning, these will be my own personal opinion, and I'm not getting paid to talk about any of these cards. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. Number 1, your primary bank's credit card. So once you have a primary bank, you should see if they have a credit card available, because a lot of these banks, they have their own credit cards that they offer to their members. I think my first credit card was with my primary bank, and I was banking with them while I was in the military. At the time, I had no credit at all. Since the bank knew I was in the military and I was a member and I get paid every 2 weeks, they would see me as a lower risk when applying for their credit card. The credit card that they offered didn't have no special points or reward system, and I think I had a maximum of $500 worth of credit. In my personal opinion, I think you probably have the best chances with your personal bank to get a credit card. Number 2, secured credit cards. Your next best option is to open up a secure credit card. What a secure credit card is a type of credit card that offers you the same abilities as a regular credit card, such as building credit, but the downside is that you have to put a deposit to get your line of credit. For example, if you open up a secure credit card that requires a $250 deposit, you have access to $250 worth of credit. So depending on the card, some of them will review your history within a few months to see if they're more comfortable to give you an increased line of credit. And eventually, you get that deposit back. Here are some of the best secure credit cards that I would recommend. Number 1, the Discover It Secured Card. So with this credit card, it has no annual fee and you get to earn cash back. Since this is an actual credit card, you can build credit history with the 3 major credit bureaus. So you get a line of credit by providing a refundable security deposit anywhere between $200 to $2,500 after being approved. And if you don't get approved, you get that money back. So starting about 8 months after use of this credit card, your account will be automatically reviewed to see if you can get a traditional unsecured line of credit. And if you do so, they return your deposit. Then this card will become an unsecured line of credit, which is the most common form of credit cards. Unsecured credit cards just look at your credit history, then they offer you a line of credit that you can use. So the perks with this card includes a 2% cash back at gas stations and restaurants, up to $2,000 every quarter, plus an unlimited 1% cash back on all other purchases. And on the first year, they will match all that cash back that you earned. This is one of the very few secure credit cards that offer some sort of a reward system. Alright, number 2, the Capital One Secured MasterCard. With this card, there's no annual fee. You will get an initial $200 line of credit after making a security deposit of $49, $99, or $200, just depending on your credit worthiness. So if you have no credit, just expect to pay the highest amount. You also get access to a higher line of credit after making your first monthly payments on time with no additional deposits needed. And with perks with most credit cards, you get fraud coverage, which basically means that in the case of your card gets lost or stolen or somebody spends it unauthorized, you could get that money back. Another perk is that you get Platinum MasterCard benefits, which basically means you get perks to auto rental insurance, price protection, and travel assistance services. Number 3, the Citi Secured MasterCard. So with this card, there's no annual fee. Similar to the previous cards mentioned, this card will also require a security deposit. So once approved, your credit limit will be equal to your security deposit, but they also have a minimum that you have to deposit at least $200. So with this card, you also get flexible payment due dates, which basically means that you can pick any day of the month to pay your bill. Unfortunately, this card doesn't have any type of sign-up bonus or reward system. There are other secure credit cards as well, but these are the best ones in my opinion since they have no annual fees. So starting to build your credit from scratch, after about 6 months or so of having these credit cards, you should start to see some sort of credit history, payments paid on time, and all the other stuff that goes into building a credit score. With all the secure credit cards, you have access to your credit score. So you can see an estimate of where you're at after having the card for a few months. This number is helpful since your credit score is probably the biggest factor into getting better cards. To be completely honest, it's going to take quite a bit of time before you get a really good credit score, because a good credit score is usually around 700. I've seen other numbers that good credit starts around 670, but 700 should be a baseline that you should be shooting for before getting new cards. Because once you get above 700, this is when you can start applying for credit cards that offer way better points and rewards, sign-up bonuses, and much better perks. So with this process of building a credit score up to 700 can take months to years. But the security credit cards that I mentioned earlier, they can eventually become regular credit cards. Once you start building credit, you're going to start getting a big influx of credit card advertisements in the mail. Some of these advertisements said that you're pre-approved for certain credit cards. It's all marketing because they still have to pull your credit before you get approved. So I usually ignore credit card offers in the mail since they're usually not the greatest. Also, to make sure to take advantage of the pre-qualifying options available before applying for any type of credit card, because this will give you the best odds in determining whether or not to fully apply for a credit card. Once you get a better credit score, here are some of the credit cards that I recommend. Number 1, the Chase Freedom Credit Card. So with this credit card, you earn a $150 bonus after you spend $500 on purchases within your first 3 months. That's about a 30% return on your money. You also earn 5% cash back up to $1,500 on rotating categories. You also get unlimited 1% cash back on all other purchases. And in the first 15 months, you have no interest. There's also no annual fee by having this card. And also the cash back rewards do not expire as long as you have the account open and there's no minimum to redeem your cash back. With most credit cards, you get a free credit score updated weekly. Number 2, the Capital One Quicksilver Cash Rewards Credit Card. So with this card, you get the same thing as a Chase Freedom. You get $150 after you spend $500 within the first 3 months. You also earn 1.5% cash back on everyday purchases. But with this card, you have no rotating categories. You also get no interest for the first 15 months. And with this card, there's no annual fee or foreign transaction fees. Number 3, the Bank of America Travel Rewards Credit Card. So with this card, you get 25,000 online bonus points after you make at least $1,000 in purchases within the first 90 days. That's about $250 of statement credit towards travel purchases, such as flights or hotels. You also earn 1.5 points per $1 spent on all types of purchases, and there's no annual fee or foreign transaction fees, and your points don't expire. Number 4, the Hilton Honors American Express Card. So with this card, you get up to 90,000 Hilton Honors bonus points after you make $2,000 in eligible purchases within the first 3 months. So this can be worth anywhere from $450 to $900 in cash, depending on how you decide to spend them. Each hotel have different rates on points, so the amount of money that you might get back might be different depending on where you want to stay. You also earn 7 times the points on every dollar that you spend at the hotel or resorts within the Hilton portfolio. You also earn 5 times the points for every dollar that you spend at restaurants, supermarkets, and gas stations. And you also earn 3 times the points on all other purchases. With this card, there's no foreign transaction fees. You also get to enjoy the complimentary Hilton Honor Silver status with your card, which is basically another perk that goes along with Hilton hotels. And lastly, there's no annual fee. Once you start making more money, like when you become an E4 or above, or you just jump right in and become an officer like an O1, then consider watching the best military credit cards video that I made, because those credit cards will have the best perks while you're active duty. Alright guys, so there you guys have it. Today I went over the best credit cards for new service members. Let me know in the comments below if you're new to the military and credit cards, and I can answer any questions that you may have. If you guys like videos like this, make sure you hit that like button and to subscribe because I make new videos every week.